My daughter is in 5th grade. For the past month, there has been a boy who has been badly bullying her. It has gotten to the point where she said she doesn't want to go to school. The school has done an okay job of dealing with it, but the boy's mom has been very uncooperative and taken her son's side. On the 2 occasions I have talked to her about it on the phone, she was extremely nasty, and the last time even screamed and cussed at me. My daughter has been going to school with this boy since kindergarten. Up until very recently, I was under the impression he didn't have a dad. Either he was out of the picture or deceased. The school rosters only list his mom's name and information. I have never seen his dad at any school events, and my daughter says she has never heard him talk about a dad. But a week ago, I found out he actually goes to his dad's house on weekends, and his dad, and all his extended relatives on that side, lives in a small rural community about 45 minutes away. I asked a friend if they knew anything about his dad. Apparently, the parents divorced the year before he started kindergarten. This friend told me the mom has referred to her ex as a narcissist and abusive, and that she had a restraining order against him for several years. She also told me she heard from a staff member that the mom specifically requested that the office and all her son's teachers never contact his dad. Over the weekend, I did a bit of snooping on social media and some of those people's search sites and found out his dad's name and contact information. Today at school, my daughter's bully shoved her on the playground and sent her to the nurse's office. As a result, I gave his dad a call and told him about what had happened that day and about the bullying that had been going on. I didn't say anything negative about his ex-wife or how she had dealt with the bullying. His dad, despite what I heard, actually seemed very nice. He was very apologetic and assured me that there would be major consequences that weekend and that it wouldn't happen again. I had a really good feeling after getting off the phone with him that there would be action taken, unlike with Mom. Just a few hours later, I got a furious text from my son's bully's mom. She said that her ex made a really nasty call to his son right after my call, screaming at him, cursing up a storm, calling him names, and making all sorts of threats about how horrible the coming weekend will be. She says he followed up by sending her a really hurtful text, calling her things like runt and witch, and accusing her of being a bad mom and letting their son be a bully. He told her he's going to post about her on social media to expose what a terrible mother she is. She said she knows her ex's family will start harassing her now as well. She said I had no right to contact her ex. She ended by saying, "Thank you for all the drama and pain you have brought into our family's lives." Was I wrong for contacting this parent? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. I would consider sending a screenshot to the dad. I am petty, but I would probably reply to her that she was given a chance to correct her son's behavior and chose not to. So in the future, if there are any more incidents, you will be going directly to the father. You only have her word that he is any of those bad things, but you have seen what a jerk she is. Comment 2. She is a bad mom. This is the truth. She is teaching her son to be a bully that uses violence against people. He will grow up to be a violent person and a bully. If she can't handle her son, just give him to someone that will actually educate him, not the idiot. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been 2 weeks since I last posted about the situation with my daughter's bully and his family. I never expected things to escalate the way they did, but here we are, and I need to get this off my chest. After I contacted the boy's dad, things took a turn for the worse. The mom's furious text was just the beginning. The next day at school, my daughter came home and told me the boy had been pulled out of class by the principal. Turns out, his dad showed up unannounced, demanding to speak with his son and the school staff about the bullying. The school was in a frenzy because they weren't supposed to let the dad have any contact during school hours. It was a mess, and everyone was talking about it. The boy didn't come back to school for a few days after that. Rumors were flying around among the parents. Some said he was suspended. Others thought maybe his dad took him out of school. My daughter was relieved he wasn't there, but I could tell she was anxious about the whole situation. Then, out of nowhere, the boy's mom showed up at my door. She was red-faced and looked like she hadn't slept in days. She started yelling the moment I opened the door, accusing me of ruining her life. She said ever since I called the boy's dad, her ex had been on a rampage. He had actually posted about her on social media, just like he threatened. Her phone was blowing up with messages from his family, calling her all sorts of names and accusing her of being a terrible mother. I tried to calm her down, but she was beyond reason. She blamed me for everything, saying that if I had just minded my own business, none of this would have happened. I felt terrible, even though I knew I was just trying to protect my daughter. The next day, the boy was back at school, and my daughter said he was different. He kept to himself and didn't talk to anyone. At recess, he sat alone on the swings, not playing with the other kids. It was like he was a shadow of the kid who used to bully her. Then came the heartbreak. My daughter, who had been so scared of this boy, started to feel sorry for him. She told me that she didn't think anyone deserved to be yelled at by their parents like that. She even tried to talk to him to ask if he was okay, but he just walked away. I couldn't believe it. My daughter, the one who had been tormented for so long, was showing compassion to the very person who had caused her so much pain. It was a bittersweet moment, seeing her demonstrate such maturity and kindness. But the drama didn't stop there. The boy's mom and dad ended up having a huge public argument at the next PTA meeting. It was supposed to be about fundraising for the school, but they hijacked the meeting to air their dirty laundry. The dad accused the mom of being neglectful, and she shot back, calling him a deadbeat who only showed up to cause trouble. The confrontation was jaw-dropping. Parents were whispering and texting, and the PTA president tried to intervene, but it was no use. The meeting ended abruptly, and everyone left feeling uncomfortable and shocked. Since then, the boy has been quieter at school. He hasn't bullied anyone, as far as I know. His parents have been ordered by the school to keep their disputes away from school grounds and school events. It's been a tense piece, but at least my daughter feels safe again. Looking back, I wonder if I should have handled things differently. Maybe I should have anticipated the fallout of contacting the boy's dad. But then I remember the look of relief on my daughter's face when the bullying stopped, and I know I did what I thought was best at the time. My old crush wanted a baby, but used me as her backup plan. I dumped her and moved on with help from my daughter's mom. I, 37-year-old male, am a single father to a beautiful girl, 9-year-old female. She is my pride and joy, and life is great with her. But she is the only one I will ever have, as I have been sterilized a few years ago. I don't really tell people about it. It's my own business. Not that I don't want any more children, I just don't want any more mothers of my children. My daughter's mother and I have an amicable relationship, but it has taken a lot of work and emotional anguish to get here. I can't say that the next one would be as amicable, so I made the decision to get a vasectomy. Maggie, 37-year-old female, has been a crush of mine for the past 20-plus years. She's unmarried, has no children, and works as a gymnastics instructor, which keeps her fit. She's just as beautiful as the girl I admired in high school. I moved away while she stayed in our hometown, but we've kept in touch and grown to be really good friends. She adores my daughter and frequently comments on how much my daughter has grown over the years, with love reacts and emojis. Nothing out of the ordinary. I just took it as her being nice. A couple of years ago, I admitted my crush to her since I feel we're mature enough to not be embarrassed or for her to make fun of it. She took it well, but we never pursued anything further from it. That is until last Christmas. My daughter and I flew home to spend the holidays with my family. My parents were ecstatic to see their granddaughter, and my brother's kids were happy to see their cousin. Maggie saw that I was in town through social media and messaged me. We made plans for lunch when my parents were available to watch my daughter. We met at a coffee shop, and she hugged me tightly and rested her head on my chest. High school me would have felt a little aroused, but I just hugged her back. Coffee turned into dinner, which turned into drinks. During the drinks, the conversation turned intimate. She finally blurted out, "OP, I want you to impregnate me," in between giggles, and I laughed along. I saw it as an invitation back to her place, where we eventually ended up. I introduced Maggie to my daughter, and they got along really well. I definitely felt that this could develop into a serious relationship. My daughter isn't used to me dating, as most of my time revolves around work and being a full-time father. She supported me pursuing Maggie and explained that she can spend time with my parents and her cousins while I focused on my relationship. We split the week between my hotel and her place. I flew back thinking that we were going to be together for good. However, last week, she called me sadly to inform me that she's not pregnant. We didn't always use protection. I asked if it would have been a good thing to get pregnant at the beginning of our relationship. She broke down and confessed that her biological clock was ticking and she just wanted to get pregnant. She chose me because of how beautiful my daughter is, but wasn't going to make me raise our child if I didn't want to. She has no intention of being in a committed relationship. Am I the jerk for not telling her about my procedure and not being able to give her a baby? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot for not telling her that you cannot have children and cannot have a baby at the beginning of what you thought might be a relationship. You're the idiot for having unprotected intimacy under these circumstances, though. Now that you know you are with someone who needs to put the weenie down and go to therapy, you need to gently back out and walk away. I know she's your old crush, but dude. Comment 2. Not the idiot and run. That's grade A crazy. She essentially used you, and it backfired completely. They have doctors and sperm banks for that kind of thing. Not you, random old friend on social media whose daughter you think is pretty. That's crazy as hell and creepy. Now for the update. A lot has happened since my last post, and I've been trying to wrap my head around it all. It's been a week of unexpected twists that I'm still trying to make sense of. After Maggie's news confession about wanting to get pregnant, I was left reeling. I had to remind myself that I had been sterilized and couldn't have given her what she wanted anyway. But the guilt of not telling her about my vasectomy was eating at me. I had to come clean. I called Maggie and told her about the procedure I had a few years back. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. When she finally spoke, her voice was a mix of anger and disbelief. She couldn't believe I hadn't told her sooner, especially after her confession. I tried to explain that it was a personal decision, one that I didn't feel the need to broadcast. But Maggie felt betrayed. She said she needed time to think and hung up. The next few days were a blur. I focused on my daughter, who was my rock through it all. She noticed I was upset and would give me the biggest hugs, telling me everything would be okay. Her innocence and love were a balm to my troubled mind. Then, out of the blue, Maggie's best friend, who I'll call Sarah, reached out to me. Sarah and I had known each other since high school, but we weren't close. She said she needed to talk to me about Maggie. We met at a local park, and she dropped a bombshell of her own. Sarah revealed that Maggie had been seeing someone else around the same time she was with me. This guy, apparently, was someone Maggie had been casually dating for a few months. But he wasn't ready for kids, which is why she turned to me. I was stunned. The injustice of it all hit me like a ton of bricks. I was just a means to an end for Maggie, a backup plan. Feeling like a fool, I confronted Maggie over the phone. She admitted it was true, but tried to justify her actions by saying she was desperate to have a child. She said she thought I would understand, given how much I loved being a father. That was a low blow. I reminded her that using someone for their reproductive abilities without their consent was wrong, no matter the circumstances. The confrontation with Maggie was intense. She cried. I raised my voice, and in the end, we both hung up feeling hurt and angry. I couldn't believe that the woman I had crushed on for over 2 decades could do something like this. In the midst of all this, my daughter's mother reached out to me. She had heard through the grapevine about what was happening and offered her support. Despite our past, we had worked hard to maintain an amicable relationship for the sake of our daughter. She reminded me that I was a good man and father, and that Maggie's actions were not a reflection of my worth. The week ended with me trying to pick up the pieces of my bruised ego. I had to explain to my daughter that Maggie and I wouldn't be seeing each other anymore. She was sad but wise beyond her years. She told me that sometimes people make mistakes, and it's okay to be upset, but also to forgive. My sister-in-law ignores her daughter to play boy mom, so I call her out and she blocks me. But her secret shatters the family and she loses everything. It drives me crazy that she makes such a huge deal out of being a boy mom. She has a bumper sticker, shirts, a sweater. She has tapped boy mom on her social media. She makes jokes about it a lot. The issue is she has a daughter, specifically a daughter and 2 sons. I am really sensitive to this BS because my dad only wanted sons and left my mom because of me. When he found out I was a girl, he checked out completely. Despite being in constant contact with my brothers, he has always hated me. He never came around for my birthday, never cared about me, never spent any time trying to know me because I am a girl. And this broke my heart, and it left me open to a lot of predators. And I worry about my niece becoming like me. So, when I see my sister-in-law making such a huge deal out of her boys while ignoring her daughter, it really breaks my heart. Her sons are awful. Like a typical boy mom, she will not tell them no, and she acts like they are little gods, so they are awful. Her daughter is very sweet, but she has started to act out, and I see why. Her daughter gets no attention. She will even drag her gymnastics into the living room and yell, "Look, Mom," over and over, while my sister-in-law will be too busy helping her sons play Lego or something else. Well, this weekend they were over again, and I noticed that once again she was ignoring my niece and cooing over her sons. I lost it a bit when my niece tried to show her something, and my sister-in-law snapped at her, "Whatever," then told her to go get a snack for her brothers out of the van. My niece is 9. I do not know much about kids, but I don't think it is smart to send a 9-year-old out to get food from a van. I asked my sister-in-law to speak outside, and I told her that she needs to knock it off, that she is not a boy mom. She has a daughter. I tried to tell her about how my dad basically ruined my life from the start by hating my gender and how it has left me empty, but she got really upset and told me that I have no right to tell her how to parent because I am not one. She said that my niece is the hardest child and that she struggles to be a good mom to all her kids. But my niece makes it really hard because she is manipulative and mean. She says I do not see the truth because I hate men. I lost my temper a bit and told her this is nonsense, that her sons are out of control, and my niece has always been sweet, but she has always been treated like a problem. She almost slapped me and left and blocked me on everything again, and is now saying she does not want her sons around me because I hate men. I don't think I was wrong, but I think my delivery was a mess. I don't know, am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, but from one neurospicy person to another, you cannot change Syl's behavior. No amount of words can make a parent want to be a good parent. The only thing you can do is limit the time you spend around your sister-in-law. Give your attention, love, and support to your niece. Reinforce that her self-worth is not tied to her gender or to her parents' acceptance. When she gets older, let her know your story and how you persevered despite your father and his negative beliefs. Be the adult that you needed when you were growing up, and your niece's story will turn for the better. Comment 2. Not the idiot. From my judgy perspective, she is one of those women who hates other women and then grows up to be those weird mothers-in-law that her son's future wives can't stand and whose daughters don't speak to her anymore. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments on my last post. I wanted to give you an update on the situation with my sister-in-law and my niece. After our last confrontation, things went from bad to worse. My sister-in-law had been avoiding me, but I couldn't shake the feeling that my niece was still being neglected. I decided to reach out to my brother to see if he had noticed anything off with his daughter. He's always been the more level-headed one, and I thought maybe he could see things from a different perspective. I remember when my brother first met his wife. He was so in love, and they seemed perfect for each other. But as the years went by and they had their 2 sons, I noticed a shift in their dynamic. My brother, who had always been attentive and caring, started to take a back seat in parenting, letting his wife call the shots. It was like he was trying to compensate for something, but I couldn't put my finger on it. When I talked to him, he admitted that he had noticed his daughter acting out, but chalked it up to typical kid behavior. He hadn't realized the extent of the favoritism his wife was showing towards their sons. I could tell he was struggling to come to terms with the situation. He promised to keep an eye out and try to be more present for his daughter. A few days later, my brother called me, his voice shaking. He had caught his wife in a lie that turned everything upside down. She had told him she was taking the boys to a soccer game, but he found out she had actually been meeting up with an old flame from college. My brother was devastated, not just by the betrayal, but by the realization that his wife's obsession with being a boy mom was a cover for her own selfish desires. The confrontation that followed was intense. My brother demanded answers, and what came out was shocking. His wife confessed that she had always wanted a big family, but after having their daughter, she felt overwhelmed. When the boys came along, she saw it as a chance to start over, to create the perfect family she had always envisioned. She admitted to neglecting their daughter, not out of malice, but because she felt disconnected from her. My brother was heartbroken. He had been so caught up in his own world that he hadn't seen the signs. He realized that his daughter's acting out was a cry for attention, a plea for her parents to see her. He vowed to make things right, to be the father his daughter deserved. The fallout from the betrayal was messy. My sister-in-law moved out, and my brother started taking steps to file for divorce. He was determined to get custody of all 3 kids, especially his daughter, who had been through so much already. In the midst of all this, my niece started to open up to me. She told me how she felt invisible in her own home, how she just wanted to be loved like her brothers. It broke my heart to hear her say those words, but I promised her that I would always be there for her, no matter what. My brother has been trying to rebuild his relationship with his daughter. He's been attending her gymnastics meets, something his wife never did, and he's been making an effort to spend one-on-one time with her. It's a slow process, but I can see the change in my niece. She's starting to smile more, to come out of her shell. As for my sister-in-law, she's been trying to reach out to explain her actions, but my brother isn't ready to hear it. He's focused on his kids, on healing the wounds that have been left behind. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.